Saniya Rivers got on live, and you better believe the next time that the Indiana Fever faced the Connecticut Sun, like, I just want to see, has this really even been covered on YouTube? ESPN posted it 7 hours ago. ESPN posted it. ESPN took clips of it live and posted it in full on their one, which is crazy.
A recent incident in the WNBA has sparked intense discussion, as Phoenix Mercury's Sophie Cunningham found herself at the center of controversy, on and off the court. After suffering one of the season's toughest fouls, many expected an outpouring of support. But instead, tensions erupted. Fellow WNBA players Dejounte Carrington and Marina Mabrey took to Instagram Live, not to defend Cunningham, but to criticize her actions, calling her out for what they described as hypocrisy and a break from the league's unspoken code among players. What unfolded wasn't just a disagreement, it felt more like a public reckoning. The exchange brought to light deeper rifts among athletes and gave fans a glimpse into the raw, unfiltered emotions that can build behind the scenes in professional sports. While no official statements have been made by the league, the incident has left many wondering just how united things are behind the WNBA's competitive spirit.
Teammate, so evil.
Damned if I do or damned if I don't.
Marina Mabrey, damned if I do. Did she just say damned if I do, damned if I don't? She just knocked someone on their ass for no reason from behind. She freaking Marcus Morrised them. Well, no, sorry, Nikola Jokic on Marcus Morrised her.
If I do, damned if I don't.
I hate that one up.
Like, it's just basketball, man. Y'all love that shit in the NBA, though. It'd be cool when the dudes do it.
People were calling for Jokic got a suspension for doing what Marina Mabrey.
Tensions in the WNBA reached a boiling point during a recent high-stakes matchup when Sophie Cunningham of the Phoenix Mercury became the focus of a hard-hitting moment that quickly went viral. In the heat of play, Connecticut Sun guard J.C. Sheldon delivered a powerful collision that many are calling one of the most aggressive moves of the season. With little indication of a play for the ball, Sheldon appeared to lower her shoulder and made direct, full-body contact with Cunningham, drawing gasps from fans and fueling debates online. The forceful moment sent shockwaves through the league and quickly became the catalyst for a much larger conversation about player conduct, respect, and rivalry. What followed off the court only intensified the spotlight, but it was this physical, no-holds-barred play that lit the match.
Talk about, this is crazy. This is Saniya Rivers and Marina Mabrey going on TikTok after that Connecticut Sun game and lying. And this is an example. I want to go through some things with this because this is an example to me of what an absolute unprofessional cesspool the WNBA is. I know you all know that, but I still think it's important to talk about this because history gets rewritten all of the time. I just saw somebody talking about, now that with the Cheryl Reeves stuff, if you saw my video, people talking about how Caitlin Clark was not playing well at the time of the selection and on. And that, again, revisionist history. I did a deep dive at the time, playing as well or better than any guard in the league.
This wasn't your average on-court collision, it felt intentional. The impact sent Sophie Cunningham tumbling, a jarring moment that left fans and commentators stunned. While the WNBA has seen its share of physical play this season, something about this hit stood out. It didn't just look aggressive, it felt loaded with purpose. To many watching, it seemed less like a defensive move and more like a message. The energy behind the contact hinted at something deeper, something personal. And as the reactions poured in, it became clear, this wasn't simply about a foul. It was the spark that revealed a much bigger conflict brewing beneath the surface.
So first of all, there was a practice. They did their media during the practice. They pulled Sophie Cunningham aside, and of course they asked her about the J.C. Sheldon incident, and she stood on business. She said, this has been going on for a couple years now. Mind you, she was on the Phoenix Mercury last season, but she had mentioned that this had been going on for a couple years now with Caitlin Clark, and she was basically...
To grasp why that quick shoulder bump sparked such strong public reaction, you need to look at the role Sophie Cunningham had carved out for herself in the weeks leading up to it. As headlines around Caitlin Clark's rookie journey grew louder, especially with all the attention on the tough defense she's been facing, Cunningham stepped forward. She emerged as one of Clark's most outspoken and recognizable supporters, standing firmly in her corner.
Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. Every game she is dropping golden eggs, and they are trying to strangle the golden goose to death. There's jealousy, there is hate. Everyone in the league seems to hate the fact that Caitlin Clark is making the league relevant. If I were advising Caitlin Clark, I would say start your own pro basketball league for women.
She made the rounds, appearing on podcasts, giving bold interviews, and popping up in headlines as a seasoned voice calling for fairness. Sophie Cunningham positioned herself as a veteran who wasn't afraid to speak out, urging the league to look out for its rising star. To fans and the media, she became something of a symbol, someone crossing team lines to defend the future of the sport. Her image as a protector was growing fast. But while the spotlight brought admiration from the outside, it quietly stirred tension within the league, placing her in a tricky position among her peers.
Never saw it coming. They went and got Sophie Cunningham, 6-year-old black belt. This is what the Bulls did with Charles Oakley to protect Michael Jordan. Watch the retaliation later by Sophie Cunningham. And again, this is inappropriate, right? No, it's what happened.
If the Indiana Fever fans keep voting the way that they are, could they get Sophie Cunningham to an All-Star game? The Indiana Fever have 4 players in the top 10 of WNBA All-Star voting right now. So could we see 5? However, that top 10 is missing someone, and I think you guys are about to snub Angel Reese from an All-Star game, which is crazy.
Then came the Instagram Live. Just hours after the game, as conversation swirled about the hard foul on Cunningham, Dejounte Carrington went online, and she didn't hold back. With calm focus and a sharp message, she took aim at the public image Cunningham had built, calling out what she saw as deep contradictions. Carrington questioned why that same protective energy hadn't been shown when other players faced tough, even dangerous plays throughout the season. Where was the concern, she asked, when Caitlin Clark's own teammates, like Nalissa Smith being knocked into the stanchion, or Aaliyah Boston taking constant contact in the paint, needed support? To many watching, Carrington's words hit on a broader frustration, that Cunningham's support seemed to appear only when it aligned with a media spotlight. Her defense of Clark, Carrington suggested, wasn't about standing up for all players, it looked more like aligning with a popular storyline. The result was a powerful public challenge to Cunningham's image, casting doubt on the sincerity of her role as a league-wide advocate.
And I'm thinking to myself, is anybody on this team going to stand up for Caitlin Clark? JC Sheldon grabbing Caitlin Clark all game, clawing at her. It's like, tonight was a brawl, folks. Tonight was a brawl, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, is anybody on this team going to stand up for... And Sophie Cunningham.
Standing quietly beside her as Carrington spoke was Marina Mabrey, a calm, unshakable presence. She barely said a word, but her steady gaze said plenty. Known for her fierce focus and cool demeanor, Mabrey's silence wasn't empty, it was powerful. Without uttering a line, she gave full weight to Carrington's message, her stillness acting as a clear and unmistakable show of support.
Start with the play that set off the entire night. So as you guys can see here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin Clark. She swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin Clark nudges her off because JC stays in her face. And then Tina Charles runs over and is kind of wagging her finger in Caitlin Clark's face. And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bad out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to...
This wasn't just Dejounte Carrington's personal frustration, it echoed feelings shared in locker rooms all across the league. Marina Mabrey's deliberate presence sent a clear message. The criticism of Sophie Cunningham was widespread and deeply rooted. It was a calculated statement, meant to show that this wasn't simply one player's opinion, but a judgment from many voices within the community. In this scene, Marina stood as the silent judge, and her powerful quietness delivered the final word.
That Sophie Cunningham thing on repeat, man. That clip where she grabbed the girl and threw her down, so foul. It's a hard basketball foul, probably over the top. Of course it is, but why would it not be, given the circumstances? But once she did the clinch, man, MMA fans, UFC, grappling, Muay Thai, like we all know, once you seen that clinch, it was like, okay, she just ain't no regular fucking person. She knows something. She got some skills, and I guess she has like a black belt in Taekwondo or some shit like that, which is wild. And apparently she was the kicker on a high school football team. I mean, I've been going to the fucking lore of what is Sophie Cunningham. I'm like, God damn.
This whole situation reflects a bigger, more complicated challenge, the so-called Caitlin Clark effect. Her dynamic entry into the WNBA has brought record-breaking attention, new fans, and major financial boosts. But it has also stirred up a tense atmosphere that could divide the league from the inside. Media coverage has zeroed in almost entirely on her, treating every tough foul she takes like it's a major national controversy.
Nah, enough's enough, bruh. Enough is enough, bruh. What is going on? WNBA, y'all need to get this under control. This is ridiculous. Marina Mabrey, you just put yourself in the Dejanay Carrington box. You dirty slime ball player, you come and blindside Caitlin Clark. Marina Mabrey assaulted and tried to fight Caitlin Clark today. This is ridiculous. WNBA, Kathy Engelberg, do something. Do y'all want to go back to 55 to 60% of the people not watching shit again? I normally don't cuss in my blogs, but forget that. This was
At the same time, other players, including experienced veterans and even Clark's own Indiana Fever teammates, face just as much, if not more, physical play. Yet, their struggles often go unnoticed. Referees frequently let calls slide, and the media pays little attention. This obvious double standard has sparked real frustration throughout the league. It feels like there are two sets of rules now, one for Caitlin Clark, protected by the spotlight, and another for everyone else who has to tough it out on their own. This divide has created a clear split between those backed by the story and those left to fend for themselves.
Enough is enough. At some point, the line gets crossed too often where something needs to be done and things need to be corrected. And that is certainly the case with the way things around Caitlin Clark are officiated. This is a constant problem now. It is something that since the beginning, I've kind of backed off on because physical play is a part of sports. Going after a superstar and trying to rough them up a little bit to get in their head is a part of sports. But when it crosses the line, the referees need to do.
Marina Mabrey's frustration isn't new. It's been building for quite some time. Just look back to the well-known game between her Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. In that match, it was Mabrey who delivered a forceful shove to Caitlin Clark after a play, an action rooted in the same deep frustration she's carried for a while. She's been right in the thick of this conflict from the start, experiencing the league's uneven dynamics firsthand.
Welcome to WNBA Fight Night, or as some people are saying, WNBA Raw. What a game that was. We had it all. We had basketball, we had fighting, we had blonde on blonde crime. Oh, such an epic. Oh, goodness. But at the end of the day, it resulted in an Indiana Fever W. 88-71, taking care of business.
For many veterans, including Marina Mabrey, basketball has always been a tough, physical game. So when Sophie Cunningham suddenly stepped up as Caitlin Clark's loudest defender, while seemingly overlooking the struggles of other players, it struck a nerve. To Mabrey and others, it wasn't just about protecting a teammate. It felt like picking sides, and Sophie had sided with the media's favorite rather than the hardworking players who have fought to build the league. When JCS Sheldon lowered her shoulder and sent Cunningham crashing to the floor, it wasn't just a foul to players like Dejanay Carrington and Mabrey. It felt like karma, a moment of payback. Sophie had wrapped herself in the role of Clark's protector, but, in doing so, she broke an unwritten locker room rule: you don't selectively pick who you stand up for. Especially not when that player already has the world fighting her battles. What followed was more than just drama on Instagram Live, it was a public enforcement of that rule. Carrington and Mabrey used the platform to call Cunningham out, marking her as an outsider. They accused her of playing politics instead of standing in true solidarity. In that moment, Sophie wasn't just fouled on the court, she was pushed out of the trusted circle. Meanwhile, as fans debated the incident online, the WNBA league office stayed silent. The foul resulted in a minor penalty, a mere formality rather than a strong statement. This lack of decisive action only deepened the players' frustration. They see a league that markets itself as tough and fearless but hesitates when that toughness doesn't fit a neat, media-friendly narrative. This contradiction creates a tough balancing act for players: be strong, but not too strong, be physical, but only against players who aren't in the spotlight. Faced with this hypocrisy, players feel forced to police each other because they can't rely on the league to do it. Carrington and Mabrey didn't go live out of anger alone, they felt compelled to act because the system wasn't enforcing fairness. When the official channels fail, the players take justice into their own hands. At its core, this conflict boils down to a clash of two games being played in the WNBA right now. One happens on the court, ruled by skill, sweat, and respect earned through hard-fought battles. The other unfolds in front of the cameras, shaped by media stories, sound bites, and public opinion. Many veterans believe you can only truly commit to one. By becoming the face of the Protect Caitlin Clark movement, Sophie Cunningham aligned herself with the media narrative, a stance that many feel overlooks the realities faced nightly by players on the court. Respect, they argue, isn't won by talking on podcasts, it's earned by standing with your teammates in the trenches. The Instagram Live was a clear and sharp message from Carrington and Mabrey, drawing a line in the sand. You're either with the players or you're with the narrative. You can't be both. Ultimately, this tangled story of a hard foul, public criticism, and silent backing shows a league at a critical crossroads. The surge in popularity has brought not just new fans but a growing identity crisis. The old, unspoken rules that guided players for years are now clashing with an intense wave of media attention and expectations. Sophie Cunningham's fall wasn't just a warning, it was the first major battle in a wider fight over the WNBA's future. As Caitlin Clark's star shines ever brighter, one thing is clear, the tension between the players who live the game and the narrative that sells it is only going to intensify. This isn't the end of the story, it's just the beginning.